I'm Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarlane. I'm glad to be here with you and glad to have you along as well. Today is Monday, the 28th of August, 2023. State Fair is in full bloom. In fact, inviting you to join us for a special edition of The Conversation tomorrow. We'll be broadcasting for 2 hours rather than the usual one. Tomorrow's program begins at noon, and it'll run the first hour from noon to 1, second hour, the regular time from 1 to 2. We've got an exciting group of guests lined up, including the international jazz superstar Najee, and including other special guests that you'll be pleased to connect with tomorrow. So bookmark that, be with us tomorrow for our State Fair edition of The Conversation with Al McFarlane. We'll be live at the State Fair, live broadcasting on KFAI, and of course, live streaming across all of the platforms we have here today. Speaking of which, we want you to support this conversation, this program, this initiative, this work. That's what I call it. And you can support it by becoming a subscriber. We're presenting this across about 7 social media platforms. We're on 2 YouTube channels. We're on 3 Facebook channels, and we're on LinkedIn and on Twitter. On the YouTube channels, we're at the Black Press USA. That's the platform for the Black Press of America. We're members of that at Inside News. And through that, we connect with 200 Black newspapers around the country and thousands of people that are connected to the Black Press mission in this country. But we also are streaming on the Inside News YouTube channel, and we want to do our measurement, our metrics of how and who we're reaching through that. So I'm asking and inviting you to be a subscriber. You go over to YouTube, Inside News MN, click on, and then subscribe, share, and like. Subscribe, share, and like, and then you will be part of building our membership, our subscribership. Got about 500 people so far, less than that. We want to get to 1,000. Every click counts, yours counts. So do that today. Help us get to this interim goal of getting 1,000. Do it right now. Before we begin today, we want to let you know that we continue to work with the Minnesota Department of Health, encouraging our communities to stay aware and to get tested, to do prevention about COVID-19. While there's no state of emergency anymore, the pandemic is declared over, the threat for COVID-19 still exists. And one thing that you can do to connect with and get resources and information about COVID-19 is check out the Minnesota People of Color Pride presentation. They're doing a back to school bash on September 1st. There are going to be school supplies and giveaway, food, fun games, free haircuts, all happening at 2517 Golden Valley Road in Minneapolis from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. For more information, 651-775-5733. As always, practice, follow the protocols, wash hands, just be aware, and together we can keep ourselves and our families safe during COVID-19 and the upcoming flu season as well. Well, I want to begin today's program by talking to a friend and a leader in the community. We've talked and worked together for a long time. Al Flowers is here, and I asked Flowers to come on to give us an update on the work that's being done by the communities against police brutality and the unit. Well, that's not the right one. The Unity Community Mediation Team. Flowers, Mark Anderson, Reverend Ian Bethel, and others have been in ongoing engagement with the Minneapolis Police Department about how do we get to accountability. And that's what I wanted to talk about first today. The recent announcement was that last week the UCMT hosted a training, this is last Monday, August 21st, to tell people how to file police conduct complaints. And they did this in partnership with the Minneapolis Civil Rights Department. And that training is part of the settlement agreement between the Minnesota Department of Human Rights and the City of Minneapolis. The intent is to correct longstanding abusive practices by the Minneapolis Police Department. And so these multiple trainings took place in the African American, the Native American, the Somali, East African, the Latino, and LGBTQ communities starting then, but they'll continue through Labor Day. Well, Al Flowers, brother, good afternoon. Good to see you. Welcome back to the conversation.
Hey, thanks, Al. And it really is a pleasure to be here to put out information to our community about what we've been doing. And you see, I'm following your health department protocol. I got a couple of sick grandkids over here, and but I'm taking care of them, so I got to do what I got to do. But Al,
let's sit on that for a minute. I really appreciate you being willing to share that, because it's really important. And even in our families and our personal, that's where really the line, of responsibility is you are taking care of children, infants in your house, right?
Yeah.
And because they're sick, you have to make sure that you are doing and following the protocols in your own house. I think that's important.
Yeah, Al, because they don't care that they sick. They're nose running, and they running up on me. I'm saying, hey, y'all, it's a different world now, y'all. But I can't stop them from jumping all over me. So I got to do what I got to do to try to make sure I'll stay safe, so I can keep watching them.
Great. Well, I'm glad to see you doing that, and that's the right example. And this is the right place to show that, Brother Al Flowers. So talk about the work that you guys are doing at the Unity Community Mediation Team. The training last week, what was that about? What were the outcomes, and what's lying ahead?
Well, Al, it's important that what we're doing when we talk about the centers that we're trying to open in our community, so you can go to a place like New Salem Baptist Church, the NAACP, Sabathani Community Center in our community, and then in other communities like Little Earth, the American Indian Center, the Latino community, the Latino community, and then the East African community. They're all those are all places where you can go and file a complaint as a citizen, because sometimes you don't want to go downtown. And what they have did over the period with the settlement agreement and the consent decree is it ain't no internal affairs no more. That you can't go to internal affairs, but you can go to the OPCR, which is under the Civil Rights Department. And so we said we want somewhere in the community that we can go, and that's what we've been doing, setting up these sites so people can go there, and we're gonna have them all open by Labor Day. So that's what we're doing in the Civil Rights Department, is giving the community the training so we can do it right, Al. And there's three things there. It's the MOU that we signed with Minneapolis Police. It's the settlement agreement, and then it's the consent decree. In my take, if you look at it, the MOU that we did with the police department is stronger than some things in the settlement or consent decree, and we got to get that message out like we're trying to do now. Because that's at the end, the community is going to be in charge, Al, and we gotta know when the DOJ leaves and the Human Rights Department are out in 4 years. Then it's back to you, myself, and people to continue to say that we got these places we have to go, and that's what we're trying to build with the Unity Community Mediation Team, trying to build places where people can go. That's what I've been about, and it's a big deal, Al. They're having meetings everywhere but when I go to the meeting, there's not a lot of people that look like me in the meeting, and we're the ones that's being abused and oppressed. But we're not in those meetings, and for a variety of reasons that we always are stressing about what else we got to do to keep living.
Let's go through those three different items: the MOU, the consent, and one in the middle. You told me
The settlement agreement.
The settlement agreement. Let's go break them down one by one. But before you do that, Al Flowers, it would be great to give a general background so that people know that this is not something that just came up last year or last month. This is not just George Floyd. This is about a history of police abuse of Black people and Native people and people of color in Minnesota. And I tell people that you have particular authority because you yourself have personally been the victim of abusive policing, at least on a couple of occasions. And so do this for me, Al Flowers. Talk about your personal story, but use that to describe what the general environment has been that all Black people, many Black people have experienced, felt, or feared. Just the background.
Well, Al, over the last 25 years, I would say I had not one, not two incidents, but 5 incidents of being assaulted by police in Minnesota. I've had 5 incidents, and 2 of them, the ones I hate the worst, was one when I say the 5, and then don't let me leave my daughter out when she was coming home from the park, from King Park, and she got assaulted right in 2 doors from my house, and so when those 5 incidents, one was here, the last one was in 2014. One happened at the Minneapolis Urban League, but the last one here at in 2014 was one with my daughter, a situation with my daughter where they came to say they was gonna arrest her, but they didn't have a warrant. I asked them, what are you coming here to arrest her for? And then I got assaulted there. And those, I bring my daughter, my oldest daughter and my youngest daughter, both seen me get assaulted by police. And so that's my history. And I go back to the mediation team. Well, when we did it in 2003, I was assaulted right while we was doing mediation. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people wonder, why would you fight to do this? Why would you fight and they did this to you? Why ain't you on the other side saying burn it down, abolish, defund? And I said, I won't put myself in front of our people, Al. I could go out there and I could be a high profile person out there saying, yes, they did this to me, but it would be detrimental to my community if I did that, because I would be saying ain't no problems in our community with violence and crime and things like that. So I couldn't do that. And even though it sometimes it hurts me that I have to defend sometimes when they still doing wrong right today. We still file complaints. We file complaints about what they're doing right now. Al, they still tried to hire police with a background of beating people in Virginia. Yep. And things like that. And then we got to find out ourselves. They don't tell us, we have to find out. And so that to continue to try to work with them when they don't really want to work with us. They really don't. The police system ain't made to work with our people. That's not what they do. It's made to keep us under control and things like that. And I know that. So that's why doing this, I'm just trying to guide our people to the right space, the right spot. I'm gonna take this down, but the right places for us to move our agenda. Because if we don't do this, just like Marx told me, this is a lawless society. And so it doesn't matter if we think we don't need the police. We do need them, and it's how we work with them, and how we going to talk to our community who's been abused out to do what I'm doing. You know, it's hard selling this to our community, saying, no, you need to be a police. They don't understand. You really do need to be a police.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we so the beatings that I took, that a lot of people that's fighting against them know I took them, and they wondering why we don't just demolish, abolish, defund, and all that, and we just can't afford it.
Let me restate what I hear you saying, just so that you know, you're presenting a unique balance. On the one hand, you are speaking personally about your experience being a victim of police abuse. And I know I ran a front page story on you, I believe, that showed your face busted up. You know, you were beaten horribly in your own home when you were questioning why the officers were there without a warrant and seeking to arrest your daughter. They went in on you, and we saw it, couldn't believe it, and that's why we put it on the front page of the paper. It was devastating. And then that wasn't the only time. There were several more times for things that happened with you. And yet, this is what you just told me, and what I know, you have maintained the position that as a community, we still need to have responsible policing. And what you stand against is irresponsible, cavalier, racist occupation of our community. And you want to get rid of that, but not get rid of the need for and the appropriateness of responsible law enforcement officers in our community. And you want our people to embrace the right doing officers and work with them so that they can support our quality of life, our desire to be able to walk in our neighborhoods without being shot at or accosted, or without fear of being robbed, or our houses and property being you know, under siege. And so you really are expressing a balance and a belief that at the end of the day, we have to be responsible for making the police department the kind of police department we want, that is consistent with our sense of our own dignity, and which is consistent with the law, but which is rid of abusive cowboy mentality, where some cops think they can do what they want to do just because they feel like it, even when it's illegal. Am I saying that the right way?
Absolutely, Al. And we have to speak up, because nobody else is. And let me just give you an example of why African American, our community that we advocate for all the time, have to speak up. When the Justice Department came in, and they said African Americans and Native were discriminated against. They were the one that was pulled over. It wasn't no other community, although ours is diversified with all communities, as we always do, right, Al? Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter if you LGBTQ, if you East African, Latino, African Americans would normally, and that's the way you operate. You're gonna make sure those communities are took care of. But when the Justice Department came, they talked about the discrimination, but the cases they brought up, when Merrick Garland, the U.S. Attorney, was a great time to lift African Americans up. But what did he do? He came in, made the announcement here in Minnesota, and he talked about the two cases he talked about with what happened in discrimination against our East African brothers and sisters in Somali, about something in Mogadishu. Some officer said, y'all could go back to Mogadishu. The other one was Justine Diamond, the white woman that was killed in Southwest Minneapolis by the Somali officer. What I'm saying about that, they still, after they know that we were discriminated, they couldn't say it was African American people that's been here, descendants of the enslaved people, or they couldn't say anything about the native. They use a Somali case and a white case to say that's why they're fighting it. And that really, all the work that we've been doing, that Spike Moss, the Ron Edwards, the Clyde Belcourt, that we've been fighting about what they were doing, they still couldn't mention it on that big stage that it happened to us. And some people missed that. Some community, they loved it, but when I told them, they knew that was wrong, but that's the way the country, that's how they look at us. That's why this fight is so hard, and it's not going to end in our time. They're going to still be fighting when we get through, Al. So we got to address that. We can't let you come in and say they discriminated against us, and you don't talk about us when you said you bringing a consent decree into this state.
Go ahead and separate out then the consent decree, the MOU, and the state's
settlement agreement.
Settlement, yeah. So
yeah,
1, 2, 3. Describe them individually so we can see the difference. And all of them are in force at the same time, correct?
Yes. And the MOU was voluntary with us, with all these communities and the police. They voluntarily signed. We agreed. The city attorney of Minneapolis signed it. The interim chief Huffman signed it. You've had her on the show before. Mm-hmm. We all agreed to this. But in the midst of that, the Human Rights Department was doing their agreement and their settlement agreement, which really, Al, here's a Human Rights Department that really, and they were in our meetings too, but this is a Human Rights Department that we went to when we were being abused 20 years ago. We was telling the Human Rights Department. So when they were doing theirs, it was in secret with the city. You didn't know, I didn't know. They were working on this agreement, so they got it. Then they wanted to get it done, and it's not like the agreement that we had. It was more watered down than the one we had. And we so focused on ours, we not noticing that they had changed rules. Like we had in our agreement of 90 days. If I filed a complaint within 90 days, you got to get back to us. The Human Rights Department changed it to 180 days. We didn't know that until the Civil Rights Director of the city, Alberta Gillespie, who I know would love to come on and speak on some of these issues, that she told us that they changed it to 180 days. Well, that ain't what we wanted, and that the police had agreed that they would get these cases back in 90. They pushed it back even further. So that was one thing that I thought was foul.
The State Human Rights Department, right?
Yeah, the State Human Rights Department, MDHR. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they changed that. So that's something we working on now. We sent them a letter from the UCMT to tell them, no, that's not okay. That's not okay. Just like when the Justice Department did that with Justine Diamond, mm-hmm. and the Somali situation, we sent them a letter. That's what the UCMT did. We send them stuff to say, no, this ain't okay, and because we backing up the community, and that's why this stuff is that people don't know. This is hard, trying to keep us together, mm-hmm. and then advocate for ourselves with a diverse group of people. So in the consent decree, the reason we look at the consent decree, we can't depend on it because they had just left here in 2017 saying everything was all right. Mm-hmm. The Justice Department just left and said everything was okay when it wasn't okay then. And now it's more media driven now because they trying to play like they want to do something, but at the same time, Al, they're forgetting they forgetting George Floyd by the day as we keep moving this agenda. Mm-hmm. That's why the UCMT got to stay strong and stay through the process, Don't worry about MDHR. Don't worry about the consent decree. That's a legal document, but it's not going to help us like this MOU we did with the police department.
So what do you think? I'm glad you mentioned the George Floyd incident, because I'm talking to people who feel like all of the promises made and all of the concerns showed is now disappearing, and that people made a lot of grandstanding statements, but bit by bit, that memory is being erased. What are you hearing on the street?
Yeah, that's exactly what's going on, Al. They trying to get away from George Floyd as quick as they can. We didn't benefit. I've been saying that we not said it on this show. We didn't get anything out of that, out of the George Floyd thing. Some individuals did, but did we advance any cause with the police? No, I don't think so. They because if what we did get, if the police did something, they would we had some activists that would gaslight the situation and try to exploit it, but and that's it. That's what we down to now, exploiting situations in our community or letting it go by. So that we got nothing out this deal, Al. It's a bad situation that we're dealing with right now. We're dealing with it today because they have forgotten about George Floyd. They don't want to talk about it. You see that with the firing of the not the firing, but really it was a firing of the public safety commissioner. Because they never.
That for a minute. Let's go into that for a second. You and I talked about that. In fact, you were at the event over at Shiloh, his reception, going away reception, and you put him on the phone. I spoke to him briefly. Tell people about what we're talking about.
Yeah, the public safety commissioner, Cedric Alexander, was brought into Minneapolis to deal with 5 different issues in Minneapolis: the fire department, Homeland Security, the Office of Violence Prevention, and the Minneapolis Police Department. And there's one more that he was supposed to be in control of. Mm-hmm. The mayor hired him, I'll say it as a black face, to keep everybody calm. And then when he did it, he didn't give him the job to deal with the police. The mayor ended up, because in the charter, the police chief goes to the mayor. That goes to the mayor. Well, the mayor knew that when he brought Alexander in. This was a renowned brother that been all over the country, and the mayor brought him in and didn't give him the job, Al. The police chief never reported to the public safety commissioner. And that's one of the reasons he left, because it was incidents about like this Timberlake hire that he did. Mm-hmm. And the public safety commissioner didn't agree with it, Al. Mm-hmm. But he couldn't do nothing. Mm. Because the mayor is in charge. Now the UCMT team met with the mayor about Cedric Alexander. We said, hey, hold up. Now you discipline him for just going on social media, but then the chief was not truthful, and I'll say that over and over again. He lied, but they like to say untruthful, and I'd have changed my words now to say he's not being truthful, because that's a policy that they supposed to be truthful, and but nothing happened to him. And then it was and right now today it's an investigation going on in the city of Minneapolis about our police chief because of that incident with Timberlake, but hiring him. But it was also when he first got in November, he got into an incident with the Edina police, where he was and they filed a complaint on him. That was in November when he first got here. The mayor or anybody never said anything about that. And then he had another incident with use of force. And this is why I think the commissioner of public safety really left, because he was telling it to the mayor, and then I think the public safety commissioner or the mayor is the one that opened the investigation on the whole thing. And then Channel 5 News reported on it. Now everybody is looking, saying what we talked about in April. It got to hit the white paper or the white news. When we telling you it happened, and in the black media, you playing like it don't mean nothing. Soon as the white Channel 5 News or the Star and Trip, these papers, then you say it, and you're behind almost a year. And that's what happened. We lost the public safety commissioner because they never gave him the job. He never could tell the police anything. And he opened I believe it's going to come out, because now all of a sudden, Al, the city attorney is investigating who leaked that information out. They just did that today, saying now we're going to investigate who put the leak out, not investigate what the leak was about, which was about the chief doing something in Edina that shouldn't have happened in November. The chief doing that with Timberlake, the chief in a excessive force complaint. All those things, and they saying there's even more coming forward. And they're fighting with the union, the police, the chief, and they're fighting with the union. The mayor is trying to cover it up, and you got us in the middle that's working with the union, working with the police department, because we don't have time to get in the argument with what the chief is doing right now, which is some of the stuff just not correct. But is the mayor gonna move him? I don't think so, because he, you lost your public safety commissioner, and now you did this here. Then the mayor keeps distracting by putting something else on the news, so you'll forget about what just happened yesterday.
Talk about Timberlake. What was that about?
Timberlake was an officer in Virginia that beat up African-American male, a mentally ill male, and tased him and did all these things to him. And he was let go on the force, but he did not. And then he went to court. And as usual, they said they dismissed the case and let him go. And then he came up to Minneapolis to get hired here, and then they had the meeting, and the chief was in the meeting. The chief was in the meeting, but he said he didn't see the video tape. And then Timberlake said, "No, but I told you everything I did. I told you everything I did," and he didn't act on it. He said, "If I would have seen the videotape, then I would have said something." But I didn't see the
reports. Indicated that Timberlake said that he wanted to make sure it was on the table because he didn't want to have blowback later, right? So he went and said he disclosed that he had been in a situation out in Virginia, and that he presumed that they'd be doing the due diligence, and they offered him a job. So he figured it was okay. And then what happened then? How did it?
So they offered him the job, and then they always try to drop it on the lower employee, but we all knew, and I got mine from this came straight out of there with what was happening down there. When he did that, he couldn't get out of it. Al, they started knocking people out and saying, you did it, and putting it on somebody else. And really, but the public safety commissioner or the mayor, one of them, it's an outside investigation going on right now with a private law firm that we just finding out today that it was a private law firm, and we should get more of that information as we ask it. And Timberlake told, not only did Timberlake told the union came out and said that the chief was in the room, and not that just us, PBS PBS News was saying, no, you were in the room. So he told news reporters and everything. Then that's why everybody's saying, well, it's not balanced how you treat the African American, which was Commissioner Alexander, and then former Chief Rondo. Remember, the mayor disciplined Rondo for coming out and said, we do need police, because he shouldn't have said it in his uniform. He shouldn't have said it. And he disciplined those 2 black officers. And then everybody is watching this. I gave you 3 incidents already. Edina, the use of force, and the Timberlake one. Then nothing's, no discipline, no nothing.
What was the Edina incident?
The Edina incident where he was trying to tell Edina police to give him information on a domestic with one of Minneapolis MPDs, and Edina said police wouldn't give it to him, and then they said he went irate. That's public. That's public now that he went irate, and then Edina police filed a complaint on him in November. He had just got here. Mm-hmm. And that's what's going on there. And then the other one is the use of force that he didn't have his body cam on, and it was force used in that, and then he didn't write a report. And then the one we keep talking about, Timberlake, is one that that he told Timberlake that don't worry about it. If you keep your nose clean, I'll get you through, and I'll make sure I work with you. And he said all that, and then say, oh, but I hadn't seen the videotape. But the guy had told him because he knew it was going to come up. He knew it was going to come up. And then and after that, then they was going to hire Storley, Al, and you'll know this. Storley was the officer that shot Dewey Knowles. Dewey Knowles, remember, that was the biggest lawsuit settlement with Dewey Knowles, and Storley was on the department, and he had applied to be an investigator, and he made it through the chief and them too. He met, so they weren't really trying to stop some of these horrible officers from getting in.
Mm. So what does that leave us now? So, back to the dilemma. On the one hand, I think you want to let people know that, and I want to let people know that we as a community are not anti-police, that we have not been calling for defunding the police or abolition of the police, but instead we've been talking about justice, about fairness, about equality, and about equity. And we've been talking about having the ability to know that our lives matter, our voices matter, our interests matter, and that we have a voice that is part of the development of policy and practice around public safety. That has been ignored historically as part of what I would describe as supremacist white arrogance, but we as a community are not standing for it anymore. And so therefore we raise our voices. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, Al. Your same line where you talk about the misery, you talk about misery, but you talk about the misery, the misery management machine. We get the misery, they get everything else, and it goes to this with policing. This is why the policing is so important, Al. That we got to get this right, because we got something bigger in front of us, and that's the economics. That I know we're gonna do a show on coming up in the future. If we don't get this police thing right, we're never gonna get the economic part right. And that's why what you said. We know we need the police. The people that say we don't need the police, somebody said that. Well, how do you get to? I said, no, I talk to our community. I talk to you, Al. I talk to the people in the churches. I talk to leaders in the community. And we were saying we need police. We got to do it right. But it was people making a lot of money off of saying, no, let's just get rid of it, abolish, dismantle it. You was making money over there. The media was making money to keep that fire burning, because you sell more advertisement. It's more stuff there. But it's so important that we are doing this right here, Al. And I don't have to tell you this. The economic part. I want to get over to this economic part because you've been saying it for years. We've been getting robbed on economics, but they know if they keep us over here with the police, we never gonna get back to this $17 billion surplus that the state of Minnesota has. Keep arguing over here while we dwindling this 17 billion off. And that's why me and you right now, we really got to know these people have to let us advertise to our community, because that's going to help on this public safety part. It's going to help us. But we got to do them both, Al. We got to do both of these things at one time. And they're major things that I'm not, all I know is I'm telling you, come on, no, you got all this resources. No, you're going to let us tell our story. Let us tell where you can create business, where you can get housing. But if you could keep us on the police, which we got to stay there, then we ain't gonna never get over here. This is such a hard task for yourself, for our black media, because everybody wants to say, hey, let's BIPOC, let's minority, let's be together, people of color. Well, all those communities know how to access these dollars, and that's what I'm telling them. No, y'all know how. We were never taught that, and they're teaching other communities, okay, come on in. I got an office for the new American, new immigrant. I got for Latino. I'm not fighting against what you got for them, but you didn't give it to us. We had to wait on, you, Al, the spokes in these different black organizations to tell us. And I'm saying that to the meters, to NDC, to the housing people. They got millions and millions of dollars off our back right now, and they want us to be focused over here. So I can focus over here if the rest of us is making sure that we get dollars coming in so we can change our economic outcome.
Al, what's going on the next few days? Any meetings that you want people to be aware of? Any issues that are top of mind right now?
I would say if you want to know about law enforcement and what they're doing with the consent decree or the settlement agreement, it's on there. It's on the Justice Department website. It's on a state website. It's on the state website. It's on the city website. Then it's on the UCMT website and the Young People Task Force. You can, if you want to know about police, or you can do this listening to this show, or you could call me. I would tell you anything, because we need help over here to say that we are right, because we got a lot of people saying, no, just let it go. But they don't have the history that we have with the situation now. They don't have the things that we done did. And we need their help, because I'm telling you, I shouldn't even be focused on this. I should be focused on that the government had $17 billion. We want our fair share. Senator Bobby Joe Champion, the president of the Senate, it didn't go the way we wanted to with the disparities, but he put the equity there. And if we don't focus on this equity, if we don't communicate this equity, it's gonna go by us. And that's where I'm at.
Let me throw two things out to see what is coming up from the streets. Number one, what do you think ordinary people in our neighborhoods are thinking about Trump being indicted? What's the feeling about that? Does it matter, or is it real?
I think that's another distraction, because the man got 93 indictments, felony, a lot of them felony, Al. He got 93 indictments. He paid a $20,000 bail. He a billionaire.
200,000.
Yeah, but he ain't paid with 20. He got the low.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he got a 200,000. He paid 20,000. He told that, he can write that check anytime. I can't imagine having two indictments. And with what Trump has did, and I'm afraid that at the end of it, there's going to be one white juror that say he didn't do it anyway.
That's the strategy.
And we went through the exercise for nothing.
The last question is Alabama, Montgomery, Alabama. What are you hearing? People in the neighborhood talking about the incident at the boat dock. What are you hearing?
But at the boat dock, I heard it's a long time coming, but the change gonna come. That you ain't just gonna beat us right there in front of us on the boat dock. That's what I heard. Most of us were like, yeah, no, because seeing him get beat up at the beginning and seeing us come to his rescue, and seeing the young brother swimming across the water. We don't want to see nobody doing that violence, but when that happened, that was like a proud moment for if you're an activist and you out there, you like, yeah, I'm glad they didn't get away with it, because they would have got away with it if our people weren't there to say, no, you can't do this.
Al Flowers, brother, thank you. Always good to talk to you, man.
Yep, and Al, I look forward to the economic show. I'll talk to you, but I had Dorothy and Renee and Senator Champion and Deed on yesterday, and they need to be. And I told them they need to be over there. We need some kind of a deal to get this information out.
All right, Al Flowers, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Al.
All right. I'm Al McFarlane. This is The Conversation with Al McFarlane. It's always cool and insightful talking with Al Flowers, and kudos to him for his persistence and his keen analysis and his commitment to action. He called it being an activist. That's what he is. I call him the field marshal of the movement here in Minnesota. Well, let's pivot now for the balance of the show with my regular meeting with the Insight sports editor, Coach Leah. Coach Leah, who produces the podcast, the show, After the Whistle, the live stream here on our channel. Coach Leah, how you doing?
I am wonderful.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. It's always good to see you on these Mondays. Now, did I tell you that I make a huge exception hanging out with you on Mondays, because my Mondays are considered my me day? And I need that, because when you're somebody that's in the service realm, or you're dealing with people in the public all the time, you need to just have a day where you can just be by yourself, be quiet and whatnot. But I will tell you, I was excited to know that I could join you on Mondays. And actually, for my me day, I get excited thinking about what types of things we can talk about on Mondays. Just have a conversation, because you're one of my dearest friends and mentors, and I mean, you've just done such a job where I don't even have to see you every day, but a lot of decisions, business decisions, I might make. Decisions in regards to how to talk about content, how to deliver news. I hear your voice in my head. And so I'm grateful for that. So I love spending my me days with you on Monday.
Oh, I love spending it with you as well. I'm excited because I think that what you represent and what you're doing is significant and important. And you are elevating, number one, an arena of activity, not just the sport itself, but the story behind the sport. But not only are you elevating the story behind the sport, you're elevating your personal track record, your history, and your knowledge base, and your capacity to really explain and explore what changes are both taking place and needed for the development of opportunity and equity and equality and advancement for women in particular, but for everybody, to make sports fair. That's what I think.
Well, thank you for that. And so often I feel the imposter syndrome. I wrote about it early in one of my first articles, rejoining the team here. You go through an imposter syndrome, like, who wants to hear what I have to say? How is what I have to say important? And I'm grateful to you and a few other people who have really tried to kind of push me ahead to say, no, what you've experienced, your story, your journey is important. And there are people that will care and could learn something from what I've experienced, what I am experiencing currently. And so I'm grateful for a platform for this ability to share stories. I like to say I'm a storyteller. And so to be able to share these things. And so I'm learning to get out of that space and be more forthcoming and feel more confident about sharing. And that's probably a reason why so often we are treated unfairly as women, as Black women, because we don't feel like we're enough. And we are enough. We're more than enough. And if we've got to stop that that imposter syndrome taking over our voice. And so, again, I thank you and for pushing me. I thank you for allowing for this platform. And, I want to do my best work. I will always bring that every single day. And so with that being said, there is Coach Leah's After the Whistle will be going into season 2 very soon. We're going to have a hiatus coming up. Season 1 will be wrapping up next week, our day after Labor Day episode. And I am going to have a guest hosting for me beginning tomorrow's episode. And his name is Brian Spann of Spann Man Media and also of Insight News. And he's one of our photographers. He's bringing his keen eye and expertise to Insight. I'm so grateful that he's agreed to take over for my duties tomorrow. And the reason he is taking over my duties tomorrow is because I am having a surgical procedure done on tomorrow. More will be coming forth in regards to that and that journey. And just as a tease, let me just say this, again, so often as women of color, the things that we are going through health-wise, the things that we are enduring on a daily basis, we push it aside way too often because we're caring for our families, we're caring for the community, we're caring for others, people that we don't even know, and putting that as a priority before our own health. And we've got to stop doing that. We've got to start paying more attention to our bodies. I am doing that. I'm taking care of me. And so I'll be going into a hiatus a little sooner before my show, but there are going to be times between now and season 2 where you and everyone will be able to learn about this journey. And it's really, really important that I talk about this what I'm going to be going through.
Well, that's really cool. Let me just weigh in on that in a certain level. On my side, and this is good for all of us to think about and talk about. I talk all the time, Coach Leah, about 3 things. One is that, on Friday, we do the Healing Circle with Dr. Breveda Garidakinsanya.
Oh, and I love her. Please tell her I said hi.
I will tell her.
Very
but I tell on the show that 3 things. One is that, she is a customer of mine. Her company buys advertising and Insight News. Number 1. 2, I am the chair of her board of directors, the African American Child Wellness Institute. 3, I'm also a customer of hers. I go to my therapist every Friday morning, and I've been doing therapy every Friday morning for at least 2 years. I wish I had started 20 years ago. And the reason I'm talking about it, because I want other brothers, in particular, other Black men, to say, you know what, we need help. I'm saying Al McFarlane needs help. Al McFarlane needs help, and I'm willing to and anxious to seek that help because help is there, number 1, but you got to go ask for it. And the beautiful thing is that we got people in our community with fabulous knowledge, ability, skill, and genius, and they are there in their capacity as healers. And so you saying that you want to talk about what you're going with and through, that's wonderful. I think that's what we got to do. We got to talk to each other and tell the truth, and that's the name of the game. So
absolutely. So I want to give a shout out. So my care team is 3 amazing women, 2 of which are of color. And Dr. Tracy Lynn Hall is my oncology surgeon. I have Dr. Vani Patlori, who is my primary caregiver, beautiful sister, young East Indian, sharp, very thorough, amazing. And then I also have Dr. Tiara Richmond, who I consider my complete wellness doctor. She has a total wellness, your total care and day spa. They do it all, and they are all, I keep them all in the loop. They all have access to each other's notes and that comprehensive care that I'm so grateful for. And again, I've got 3 sisters that are going to be helping me on my journey, here and moving forward. And that's what it's about, being able to have a care team put together. So with that being said, I just wanted to tell you guys, be on the lookout for this. We're sending, please send positiveness, your love in your life this way. And be sure to watch Coach Lee's After the Whistle tomorrow, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time, live. Your comments and questions will be able to be answered. We've got a great guest, Michael Shelton from the Minneapolis area, who is the executive director of a youth program out of the Twin Cities, the Heritage Youth Sports Foundation. Plug, that is my brother-in-law. I'm just gonna throw that in there, but he's doing great work.
Awesome.
And my new brother brother from another mother, Brian, they're going to be having a very engaging conversation. Our final show of season 1 is going to be super cool. If you know who Sean Lumpkin is, from the Twin Cities, former NFL player doing really great philanthropy work, and also in the pharmaceutical, if I'm not mistaken, corporate space right now, which again, I think that having us, people that look like us in those spaces, in decision-making places, is so important. So that final show of season 1 is going to be a hit as well. So thanks to you as a co-executive producer. Thanks to Vash as another co-executive producer, my development producer, Nicole Lester Merritt, who's going to be moving away to Florida, but that's okay because we've learned COVID has taught us a lot. And this
That's right.
Not all have to be in the same place to work in excellence, to work in concert with each other, and to be on the same page. And so that's what I have to say for today.
Well, one last 30 seconds on the notion of reunion.
Yes. So the notion of reunion, when you talk about the couple that I was on that is in the paper.
No, talk about the story in today's Inside News about the class reunion.
Summertime, the time of reunions. We always have families talking about their family reunions and whatnot. And 2 really great reunions that I know about that happened. I was attending my 40-year high school class reunion, Washburn High School. I've been getting a lot of teasing being away from Minneapolis that our mascot is a Pillsbury Doughboy. Isn't that terrible, people? Just terrible. But it was a great time. It was so wonderful seeing so many people I hadn't seen literally since we walked across the field. We call it the field because, we graduated outside, and so was the field that we crossed or whatever. And then McCray Park on the south side had their McCray back in the day at McCray, the 14th annual there. And so many people got together, people that hadn't seen each other in the community. They all went down to converge at McCray Park. It was so much fun. When you have a chance to get over to the south side, check out McCray. For years now, they have had really great programming coming out of that little park down there on 46th.
We're out of time. Read all about it in Inside News, ladies and gentlemen. Coach Leah, thank you so much. And prayers and applause to you all day, every day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy Monday.